Hey everyone, welcome to the Life and Gear podcast where truth leads to joy and adventure. I'm your co-host Justin Stewart and I am here with Kevin Gear. Here we are, Kevin. Very first episode. How excited are you?
I am so pumped about the journey that we're about to go on and taking advantage of this medium of sharing podcasts and talking with people. And this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've been hesitant to do it because I'm like, who really wants to listen to you and I talk? But here it is, and we're going all in.
We're going all in, and we want to kick things off right. So what we're going to do is our very first episode is actually going to be broken up into two separate episodes. And what we're going to talk about over the next couple episodes is living life with adventure. So why are we talking about this?
Well, I think Tiffany and I, my wife, we have a statement that defines the way we approach life. And that is we are going to live life with joy and we're going to live life with adventure. No matter what comes at us, no matter what waves hit us, we're going to experience joy in the middle and adventure in it all.
That's
and
good.
Truth opens the door to joy and adventure. So there it is the line you'll hear at every podcast where truth leads to joy and adventure. And that's what we want to share with people.
That's so good. And we want to talk about making life an adventure, right?
Yeah. Life is an adventure. I mean, sometimes adventures comes with twists and turns and hardship, and sometimes there's mountaintops with phenomenal views. And I think finding the adventure in all of that is really what people want to do, and we just want to give them tools to be able to see that perspective.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we're going to be talking about, and a lot of people don't realize this, is they need permission for whatever reason to dream. But they don't really need to, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about that.
You know, I've really seen that magnified. We did a series at the church that I pastor called Do It, and that was the name of the series. Yeah. And one of the biggest takeaways from that entire series when we were done with it was how just telling people they can dream, giving that permission, open the doors for their perspective to change on their marriage, on their job, in the way they approach their children, to go, I can dream a better life than what I'm currently living.
Crazy. It's
permission.
Awesome.
Just permission.
Here you go. Let's dream. So with that, let's dive into this content here. And
okay.
Kevin, you talked about it just a second ago, and you have really two words. If we break it down, you have two words that really define your life and your marriage, and that is joy and adventure.
Yep.
And for you are very intentional about finding adventure. You actually have, for the last, I think, 20 some odd years or something like that, you actually started picking a theme every year and going for that whole entire year of learning that theme or doing that theme. So how did this start?
Well, you said a buzzword for me, and that's the word intentional. I want to be intentional with my life.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not always, but my goal is to be intentional because you don't get that which you're not going after. And so if I want joy and adventures, we've been talking about that in my life, I have to be intentional about that. So I fell into this idea over 20 years ago by accident. I went backpacking. We went hiking. Me and my brother said, "Hey, let's go climb a mountain." It was Granite Mountain in Washington.
Okay.
And we started backpacking, and we had all the wrong equipment. This is we were horrible. I took my brother-in-law had a 2-stove Coleman stove,
like the camping stove,
yes,
the propane camping,
right, in his backpack. That's all he could fit in there. This is how we had no clue what we were doing, and we walked up there. Each of us carried an umbrella.
Where was the food?
It was in somewhere. It was under the bottom being smashed. We were out of our element. We had no idea what we were doing. And we had a blast.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought, we can get better at this. And so that year, I just started learning about how do people go backpacking. and our packs, we were averaging 80 pounds a pack. We were stupid.
Well, 60 of it was a stove.
Seriously. And so that year, I picked hiking, and I thought we're going to figure out how to backpack.
Okay.
And then the next year, I said I'm going to pick a different theme. I sort of enjoyed that, and that's how it started. And I've been doing it for 20 years.
So by trying to live life with intentionality, this whole thing happened by accident.
Oh, you said that. That's why you're the co-host of the Life and Gear podcast. If that's it, exactly.
That's
intention.
So
I am accidentally intentional.
Okay, all right. So let's go into this a little bit more. What are some themes that you've picked over the years?
half of the fun is picking the themes.
Oh, yeah.
I have picked, one of the themes that I picked was fantasy football.
Yes.
And so I studied the history of fantasy football. I joined dynasty leagues.
Is that like a Google search, history of fantasy football?
I read a book on the history of fantasy football. And then 1 year I picked guns. I had to get a concealed weapons permit. I had to take a class on gun safety. I bought a gun. So that was a fun year. 1 year I took astronomy, studying the stars. I actually signed up for a course out of Yale and on astronomy. I lasted 2 weeks and dropped out because it was way over my head.
And it was Astronomy 101 probably.
It was like astronomy for beginners. And I realized I'm not even a beginner. But I loved it. I got the app on my phone that you can look up in the sky and see the stars.
Yeah.
Last year was one of my favorite years. I took cooking. You know, I have never browned meat in my life.
I do know that now.
Yeah, you know that. I never did. I browned meat for the first time in my life last year. I never had. I cooked pancakes. That was it. And then so I cooked dinner for our family every Thursday night. Tried new recipes. And it was just a year of learning and growing.
So besides browning meat, what are some of your other recipes that you cooked? Do you remember?
I did a burger ring. So it was like a big ring that I made that had meat in it and pickles and cheese and with croissant rolls. It was great. I'm the only one that liked it. I made.
That's all that matters.
I made chicken fried steak using cube steak.
That's like Southern food right there.
I probably cooked over 100 loaves of bread throughout the year.
Why did you cook loaves of bread? Oh, like you baked loaves of bread.
Baked loads of bread. Yeah.
I'll help you there.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. You're going to help me a lot in this journey. I made all kinds of, and more like, and I got a Traeger.
Oh,
and so
congratulations.
I did pork loin, and it was so good.
I feel like a Traeger is a sign that you're officially a man. Right?
Do you have a Traeger?
No.
This is your year to become a man, sucker.
I think I need to try it.
Oh my goodness! So I've had all kinds of themes that I pick, and I love it. And you know, a lot of the themes that I pick, they shape the life that I'm living today.
Yeah,
I still do fantasy football.
Yeah.
Real quick, I did soccer 1 year.
Yeah.
And I love soccer to this day because I picked soccer 10 years ago as a theme.
That's awesome.
And now it's part of the enjoyment of how I do life with joy and adventure. Soccer brings joy to my life.
Oh, that's awesome. So, okay, we got to ask this question.
Yeah.
Any regrets on any themes?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say regrets because every topic introduces you to something else, but I would also not be honest if I say I have no regrets. There was 1 year, and it was a couple years ago, I picked coffee.
I remember this.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee at all. I don't like coffee, and I thought, my wife loves coffee, and I thought for her, I'm going to study coffee for a year, how to roast it, where the beans come from. I'm going to read, the Howard Short's book on Starbucks. I'm going to do all these things, and it was a terrible year. I hate coffee. I don't like it. I had, I set out goals and stuff for every year, but I almost quit halfway through the year.
So you didn't quit?
I didn't quit. My wife says I quit. I don't think I did, but it was a terrible, not fun year.
Okay, I remember, now we're talking about this. I remember you got some coffee beans from somewhere. I don't remember where it comes from, but
I don't even remember.
It comes through an animal. Tell me about it.
Okay, that was one of the highlights of the coffee year. A missionary friend of mine was coming back to America here, and he brought the most expensive coffee in the world.
Wow.
It's the most expensive coffee in the world. And what it is there's a cat that eats the coffee bean, digests it, poops it out, and then they make the coffee out of the feces-fied, I made up that word, coffee bean. And I drank that. And it tasted just like any other kind of coffee.
Really?
It was very anticlimactic, but it's sort of cool to know that you're drinking a cat's feces. Huh?
Yeah. I don't think no, there's no way that they actually they don't roast the poo, right?
No, they roast the
they
bean.
take the bean out of the poo.
And I'm sure what a horrible job that would be.
You got to pay me a lot of money to do that.
Anyways, that was part of my coffee, and I never would have had the joy of drinking coffee from the bottom of a cat if I wasn't intentional about living life with joy and adventure.
Well, you can say, with all honesty, you gave it your very best try. I mean, you spent the whole year trying coffee.
Most of the year. Again, my wife would say I quit. I don't accept that, but But it was a tough year. I don't like coffee ice cream. I don't like the smell of coffee. I don't like. Give me a Starbucks chai.
Oh, you're a chai guy.
Non-fat, no water. I drink it with my pinky up. That's me.
That's you. So you just like the caffeine is what you want.
Seriously.
That's what you
Absolutely.
need. Okay, all right. So let's talk about this. You actually have a list of 7 things of really how you do this.
Yeah.
And we're going to cover 3 of them today.
Yep.
And then 4 of them in our next episode. So let's get right into it. Let's start talking about how you do this, picking out a theme every year.
Well, before I start on that, let me just say this. One of the things I think it's great is I have a lot of friends that have started doing this.
That's cool.
And it's fun to see their excitement for their theme.
Yeah.
It enhances your life. You get excited for a year to study something. Let me say it this way. It gives you permission.
Yes.
We go back to the dreaming.
There we go.
It gives you permission to explore areas you've always wanted to explore, but you needed to give yourself an excuse to do it.
That's good.
And so I start with my first point would be picking a theme. You have to pick a theme, and you have to pick something that excites you. You have to pick something that you're interested in, something that you've always wanted to study, but you've never given yourself permission to do it. And so that's what I do. Is I sit there and I wonder, okay, what am I going to do? What interests me? And like for this year. In 2021, the theme that I'm living out right now is handyman. I've always wanted to be able to fix the holes in my walls or that kind of stuff. I don't know.
You are becoming a man. I mean, you have a Traeger.
I have a Traeger.
And you're becoming a handyman.
You know, I picked the theme handyman and I made it known, and I will talk about that in a second. And I posted it on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter that I'm going to pick handyman for the year.
Okay.
And I said, now I got to go find the directions for my hammer. And somebody posted on my Facebook comment, and they said, do you have a right-handed hammer or a left-handed hammer? I didn't know.
Because did you Google it?
I actually went and looked. That's how clueless I was. But, you know, picking a theme, you do something that you've always wanted to do. For me, I try to do something that's not work-related in picking my theme. Because my whole life is work. Yeah. So I want my theme to be sort of outside of work.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a guideline that I use in picking a theme. I think the other thing, it's something that I want to do. I don't even let people give me suggestions, because when people know I do this, they always are, Kevin, this could be your theme. Kevin could, which the minute someone says this could be your theme, I tell myself that will never be my theme, which might just be pride, and I need to get over that. But
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even have a Traeger. Be quiet. But and so I don't even like suggestions. I like to own it.
Yeah.
I have to decide what I'm going to do myself. And then you have to be very specific, because if it's too broad, you get lost.
I like that.
And so that's it. I pick a theme, and I don't start thinking, this is key, I don't start thinking of my theme until the very end of December. Otherwise, you get excited about that theme, and it hijacks the current theme you're on.
Yeah. So like during Christmas break is kind of when you start dreaming.
Yeah, probably sometime in December I start wondering.
Yeah,
but I don't really make a hard line commitment till the end of December.
All right, so okay, that's point number 1.
Yep.
What's the next thing?
Well, and then after you pick a theme, for me, I reveal it on January 1st every year. And I get excited. I mean, maybe it's because I like to do things in a big way. I'm a woo personality. But I reveal on January 1st what my theme is going to be. Now, there's a couple people that might know ahead of time, like my wife or my kids. But and everybody always asks me, Kevin, what's your theme going to be? And I'm like, not going to tell until the 1st. And it builds it builds excitement in me.
Sure, yeah.
For my own choice.
Right.
And then the other thing, it gives you permission to sit with it for a while to think if you really like it.
Yeah.
Because it might have just been the pizza that I ate before that got me excited about something that I'm not excited about the next day. So I sit with it and I go, do I like this? Do I like this? And it also allows me to change my mind.
Yeah.
And I've changed my mind numerous times in the month of December. But when I announce it on January 1st, there's a heart and soul commitment there. And the other reason I announce it on January 1st is you don't want to start early. Yeah. Because again, you start thinking about it, you're going to go. So that's why I reveal it on January 1st. Here's a secret to it, though.
Okay.
This is a secret, top stuff right here.
I love secrets.
Okay. The other reason I reveal it, and I try to do it in a big way, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I talk about it at the church I pastor. The reason why I reveal it, people come out of the woodwork to help you succeed.
That's amazing.
They want you to succeed in your dreams. And so I reveal it, and I got people come, hey, I can help you with that. Hey, I know this. And it's not like I want to take advantage of them. They genuinely want to help. Yeah. And I'm gleaning. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm gleaning wisdom. And I've created a network immediately that's going to help me be successful.
That's awesome. So have you had, but there's got to be some filtering that you go through, because everyone probably wants to help you out.
Oh, well, on this handyman year, I had one lady, I got to be careful on this, but this is Kevin Unfiltered here, so let's do it. I had one lady message me and ask me if I would build a room for their house.
Why would she do that?
Because I'm a handyman.
That's a lot of trust in you.
I don't even know a right-handed hammer from a left-handed hammer.
Like, she asked you to build an addition to her house?
Yeah, because people get excited about it. She had a dream for me. So yeah, I'm just like, I couldn't even do that. So but yeah, so you filter.
There's probably a YouTube video for it.
Oh, and YouTube is the university for the world.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah,
that's how I learned what. Okay, so we've got picking a theme, reveal it on January 1st. What's your third point?
I think my third point out of these 7 that I'm giving here is I established goals for myself throughout the year that I have to hit. And so I have to spend a certain amount of money on the topic. I have to do all these certain things. But one of the things that are part of every theme that I pick is I have to read 3 to 4 books on the topic. Okay. So that's like 1 a quarter throughout the year, because it's a learning lifestyle that I'm chasing. I listen to podcasts. Okay. And probably what got me interested in doing a podcast is how many podcasts have influenced my life. Yeah. So I listen to podcasts on the theme, and I'm learning and I'm studying. It's fun to start with something that you don't know much about. Yeah. Like when I started soccer, I knew nothing about soccer.
Nothing at all.
No, now I can sit down with someone from Europe who grew up watching soccer, and I can hold my own because I've learned so much about it.
Well, you even coach too, right?
I even coach soccer, absolutely.
How was that?
I love coaching, and I love people, and I love motivating people. Yeah. So I was short on skill, but great on the woo. And
you had the passion.
They called me the cheerleader coach. But, when you're coaching junior high girls soccer, all you need is to get them to believe, and skill goes out the door. And so, but let's not go there, because it was just a lot of. And I will say this: when you read books and or a podcast, you set yourself up for this. It's humbling at first, because you realize how much you really don't know.
Wow!
I will say this: when I did my I try to pick a mentor that's going to help me throughout the year. Okay. I never realized how much, when I picked cooking last year, how good my wife was at cooking. Like, I took it for granted. Yeah. And she had all of these secret things that she does. Yeah. And I kept saying throughout the year, probably every Thursday night when I would cook, how do you know these things?
Blows me away.
It showed me how ignorant I was on the topic, and how smart she was. And if you'll just admit, I have no idea what I'm doing, that's the first step to learning.
That's so good. That is really, say that again. If you just admit what?
If you just admit how ignorant you are at something, it opens the door. It's the catalyst that you can begin to learn.
That's good.
And so, like, on this handyman, I don't know anything. Yeah. But that's part of the adventure. Yeah. And as you learn, that's what brings joy.
That's cool.
And so I just rewired my house, but that's a story for another time, because this is the first 3 points of how to pick a theme and live it out for the year.
All right, Kevin. So we got the first 3 themes. The first 3 points of that is picking a theme, reveal it on January 1st, read a book, podcast. You gotta be able to study. Yeah. What are your final thoughts on this?
If you're listening to this podcast, you will listen to this and go, that's a good idea. Yeah. What turns in good ideas to great ideas is when you apply it. Yeah. So I would say, if you're listening to this, don't just listen, go do it. Start dreaming right now. It doesn't, I mean, we're in February probably when you're listening to this, or if you listen to it later. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Pick a theme for the rest of this year.
That's good.
And just say, I'm going to tip my toe on this. I think, one of the statements we say at Canvas Church is the depth of a teaching comes in the doing or applying the action. Okay. Find how great you can have joy and adventure in your life by picking a theme and going for it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so with that, the action is let's dream. Start dreaming.
Yeah. Before you listen to episode 2,
yeah,
which we release episode 1 and 2 at the same time. So
yeah,
if you're listening to this, you're like, okay, I'm going to go find, what are the other 4? I'm hoping that's what you're thinking.
yeah.
Take the time to dream before you listen to the next one. So don't just go listen to the next one. Take like 3 minutes before you hit it and then go listen to it because I want you to.
Slow processors take 5 to 8 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Pick a theme before you listen to the next one. There would be a challenge for everybody.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for our very first episode of the Life and Gear podcast. Each episode will air on the first Thursday of every month, but we want to kick off this podcast right. So episode 102 is actually live right now. But before you go to listen to that, make sure you do what Kevin said and just dream. Take a few minutes and dream. And just as a teaser for episode 103 that's coming out next month, we're going to be talking about living life unoffended. That can't be possible, but be sure you tune in next month. I'm your co-host, Justin Stewart, for Kevin and myself. Thank you again for listening to the Life and Gear podcast, where truth leads to joy and adventure.